It's a great feeling to get a final job offer, but when accepting a government job offer, you are placed on probation. This is usually a 12-month period where you are an at-will employee, which means they can basically terminate you for any reason, but most people make it out with no issue. However, I spoke with a lady recently who was terminated 6 months into her 12-month probationary period. So what happened? She applied to several jobs on usajobs.gov between March and May, and then it took several months for the hiring process. Finally, she accepted a job offer in the Veteran Affairs in the 0183 job series as a licensed mental health counselor. She was from Long Island, New York, and she had to move to Syracuse, New York for the job. This was about a 5-hour difference between the two locations, so she had to pack up all of her belongings, move out to Syracuse, and while she was there, she ended up getting an Airbnb while she's looking for an apartment, while she's waiting to get onboarded with the Veteran Affairs. Now, once she started the job, first 6 months, there was no issues. She got along with her coworkers. She got along with her supervisor. And there were 2 locations she was focused in. One was her actual office in the government building, and then she had another place of duty at a hospital dealing with veterans who are suffering with cancer. She had a caseload. She was doing everything that she was supposed to be doing. One day, she's in her office with the door closed on the phone. She's talking on the phone. She didn't know it at the time, but her supervisor was outside of the closed door listening in, listening to exactly what she was saying on the phone. As soon as she hangs up the phone, she leaves her office. Her supervisor confronts her. Hey, come with me. I need to talk with you. And essentially at this particular point, she tells her, I believe you're working another job, that you have private clients that you're working with on the government's time, on the VA's time, and that's not allowed. Her supervisor actually had a transcript of what was being said and the duration of the call. She said the call was for 30 minutes. And what that means to me is the supervisor must have been listening for 30 minutes. And she's being told at this point, sign the transcript, acknowledging that this is accurate, acknowledging that you have received this. She doesn't sign the transcript. So she's told an investigation will take place to find out what really happened. Are you working on government time or not? So she's going to have to wait to see the results from this investigation. 2.5 weeks go by and there's no investigation. One day they tell her, hey, we need your badge. Give us your PIV card. Give us your computer. You no longer work here. You're being terminated. And when this happens, it's embarrassing, obviously. She's being escorted through the motions as she's getting her belongings, putting it in the box, putting it in the bag, and leaving the building. She's being escorted because she's no longer a federal government employee. So everyone sees that. It's not something that anybody would want to actually go through. Her supervisor was working in the VA for about 17 years. She just finished giving her a mid-year performance review, and her marks were high. Her performance was meeting expectation. And this position that she was in, it had promotion potential. So she was a GS-11. I think it went up to at least GS-12. Throughout this whole process, human resources, they were not that helpful. As you're ending a job, you want to know, what's my last SF-50? When am I going to get my SF-50? Maybe you want to sell some leave. When is your last paycheck? Questions like this, they were not being answered. Now, what you have to keep in mind is even if you have a collective bargaining position, say you're represented by a union oftentimes can provide a mediator. They can help try to resolve personality conflicts and things like that. But a union cannot do that much if the federal employee is on probation. And while you're on probation, in reality, you can get terminated for just about anything. Like I said earlier, most people make it through this period, and if you don't make it through, if a person does get fired during probationary period, it's usually because they are showing up late, like habitually, or if they're falsifying time cards or doing something nefarious, then they'll get terminated. Like I said earlier, most people are able to make it through the probationary period. And if they do not, it's usually because they're showing up late habitually, or if they're falsifying time cards. Now, once you're terminated, you do not lose your secret clearance if you have a clearance. You don't lose it automatically. Most of the time, it turns inactive. And then when you're hired again for a position that requires a clearance, then it's active once again. In her situation, she was able to find another job in that area, in the upstate New York region. She found a job at Fort Drum. It's not a federal government job, but it's a contractor job. It actually pays more money. So she kind of looks at this as it could be a good thing that she didn't keep the government job, because she will be making significantly more in the contractor position. Towards the end of the conversation, I asked her, is there anything you would tell people that are nervous about being on the probationary period? People that are nervous about being terminated. And she said the one piece of advice she would give everybody is that if you're taking a phone call, a personal phone call, exit the building before you take the personal phone call. It doesn't matter what the call is. Or get into your car and have the conversation in your car, because someone can overhear you and misrepresent the conversation. Now you have to be aware, if you're not a government employee, most government employees, they have 2 15-minute breaks and they have 1 30-minute break for lunch. These are times when you can have conversations and people shouldn't be able to question the nature of the conversation. Remember, you do not want to give anyone any reason to terminate you within the first 12 months. So you shouldn't be really anxious and stressed out about it. But I would also say, don't be too relaxed. If you are still looking for a federal government job, but you need the salary to at least be in the 6 figures, you need $100,000 or more a year. If you want to learn how to attain a government job like that, then I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.